So in this video, I am going to show you how to create a new Spring 4 application. I am on a Windows 8.1 machine and JDK 7 is installed on my machine, and I'm going to use Spring Tool Suite as my IDE, which is now open on your screen. You could actually use JDK 8 as well, because they are now saying that STS 3.5.0, which is now I am using, is compatible with JDK 8. But we are not going to use any Java features, Java 8 features, and so I do not mind using JDK 7. And regarding the IDE, we are going to use Spring Tool Suite for this demo. But if you are using some different IDE, that is fine too, because ultimately we are just going to create a standard Maven project, and there are ways to create Spring projects that I will show you later in different IDEs as well. And if you do not know about Maven, Maven is a build tool which compiles your source code to executables like jars and ORs, and we are going to use that. And if you do not know Maven, it's well and good if you go and read about it, you get familiar about it, but it is not actually necessary to follow this demo, because I am going to teach you as much as it is required. So let's create a new project. Let the name of the project be Good Video Tutorials. That's Spring. Let the group be com dot good video tutorials, and the artifact be Spring. The description could be Spring 4 and Spring Boot or starter, and the package name could be a combination of the group and the artifact ID. And the style could be web. Actually, we are going to use more modules later, but for now, let's just stick to web. Then I click on next, and then I click on finish. Now the project is created, and here you see the structure. This is a standard Maven structure. And if you do not know Maven, do not worry. Let me repeat, and let me explain something about the POM file. For those who do not know Maven, let me tell you that the POM file is the configuration file which Maven uses to build your application. As you see, the packaging is jar here. That means this is not going to be a WAR file, which is meant for deploying in a Tomcat container on a web server. But this will be a jar file which can be run standalone with the java-jar command. So this will actually be embedding Tomcat into it. And let us look at the raw POM file, pom.xml file. This inherits from a Spring Boot parent project, and it depends on a couple of projects. For people who do not know Maven, this is an important concept in Maven, that you can declare dependency like this, and the jars from those recursively will be pulled into your class path. And here you see there is a plugin for building the jar and embedding Tomcat into. Looking at the source code, we see that there is an application class, and that application class has got many things which we'll be understanding later on in detail. And it has got a main method in which the Spring application.run static method is being called, and here is where Spring starts. So now let's try to run and see. I'll click this button, and here, as I told you, this is a standard Java application, so we can either choose this option or we can also choose this option, and I prefer choosing this. And if I click on OK now, the application started. but it will not do now anything because we do not have a request handler yet, and so we need to write a controller method, and we need to write a hello world controller to check whether things are working properly, and I'm going to do that now. And so I'll create a new package named dish, and then I'll click on finish button, and then I'm going to create a new class in that. Let me name this class as root controller, and then let me just create it, and this will be of type, this will be annotated by root controller, rest controller, and I am not going to explain you all these things now. I will be explaining you these things later, but for now I am just concentrating on getting this hello world work. There should be a method which will be used as the request handler, and the method should be like this. And it should be annotated with a request mapping annotation. Now let me stop it and save it and then rerun it. Now if I go to a browser and visit http://localhost http://localhost:8080, I should be able to see hello world, and I see it. So it is running, and as I told you, we are not going to discuss about these how it is working now. That will be a topic to be discussed later, but first we will go to understand the basic concepts of Spring, like dependency injection. Before we close this video, let me tell you that if you are not using STS but you are using a different IDE, then you have a couple of options to create a new Spring for project. Option number one, you can go to a website hosted by Spring, which is start.spring.io, and there you can feed the same parameters that we fed while creating a project from STS, and you can download a Maven project, and which you can import later in your IDE. And the second option will be to create a standard Maven project. Anyway, as I told you, what we are actually creating is nothing but a standard Maven project. So creating a standard Maven project will be a option in any IDE. And then after creating that standard Maven project, you make your pom.xml file as you saw here, and write the application class and the root controller class, and then you are done.